Saints-Niners, and keeping a keen eye this week on the injury report. Let's head out to San Francisco. Brian Peacock, Locked On 49ers, good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here to talk about the Niners as, they're facing some uncertainty coming to the Dome this weekend. Hey, Brian, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's never a dull moment with the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, let's just start with the most giant part of this, and that's Brock Purdy. What can you tell us as of here on Wednesday afternoon?
Yeah, according to Kyle Shanahan today, talking with reporters, Brock Purdy is a long shot to play against the Saints this weekend, and in fact might be multiple weeks that Brock Purdy's out. He's got a shoulder, he's got a toe. He was able to finish the game last week, but apparently taking inventory of himself after the game, realizing how bad he was hurt. He did take a couple of hits, was under pressure quite often in that game week 1 against the Seahawks, and as of now, it's looking like it's going to be the Mac Jones show in New Orleans.
Well, a lot of people here are familiar with Mac Jones' time at Alabama. Didn't have a great start to his career in New England last year with Jacksonville, now with the Niners. What is a realistic expectation for Mac Jones this weekend, if in fact he is the guy?
It's hard to say. He looked okay in the preseason. I think he looked like someone who's a good backup as far as NFL backups go. I think he is a good fit for Kyle Shanahan's offense, and clearly he was the guy that Kyle identified as a player that he would potentially even draft as high as number 3 overall in 2021. Now, 49ers fans kind of learned throughout that offseason and draft process to kind of hate Mac Jones because nobody wanted the 49ers to draft Mac Jones. So it's really funny that it's come full circle, and he's back with the 49ers and now likely going to start this week. He's going to be a little bit more aggressive than Brock Purdy as far as downfield throws, I think, but probably less efficient. So maybe that makes for a more fun game, but also it makes for, I think, high volatility on whether it turns out to be really good or potentially bad for the 49ers. I haven't been super impressed from what I've seen of Mac Jones throughout his NFL career. I definitely think he was overdrafted. But Kyle Shanahan is an offensive wizard, and he's made Jimmy Garoppolo look amazing. He turned Mr. Irrelevant into a $53 million per year quarterback. So, and even the work he did with Sam Darnold kind of helping save his career and become a starting quarterback again. So I expect Mac Jones to be a pro and be ready to play.
What do we expect with Kittle on IR? What the impact is there on the offense?
I mean, Kittle alone is such an important piece for the 49ers because of not only his ability as a receiver, but he's the best blocking tight end in the NFL. And we saw that in week 1 against the Seahawks. They only had one really good drive all game long, and it was when Kittle was in the game. And he ended that drive with the touchdown. And the 49ers had trouble running the ball after that and really couldn't. I mean, it was a struggle for the 49ers. And the Seahawks have a good defense, and Brock Purdy, I think, was pressing a little bit, made some great throws. Kind of made some throws that maybe he would like to have back, but they also were afraid to kick field goals because they didn't trust their kicker, who they ended up cutting the day after last week's game. So George Kittle is massively important, and he would be less important if you had Brandon Ayuk and you had a healthy football team around him. But right now the 49ers are just so injured that it's going to it was last week, but it's going to become even more so the Christian McCaffrey show, I think, this week.
I'm glad you mentioned it. McCaffrey made his return. Ho-hum goes off for 140 total yards. He's just like nothing was ever wrong. Give me, if you would, your impressions of McCaffrey and what type of impact they're expecting he'll have this week in New Orleans.
Look, and Kyle Shanahan loves to lean on his number one back, and Christian McCaffrey gives Kyle the opportunity to call any play in his playbook at any time when he's in the game. So he never wants to take Christian McCaffrey off the field. The running game wasn't really working all that well. It was 3 yards per carry, but you see how good McCaffrey is out of the backfield as a receiver, and he had 9 catches in that game, and they leaned on him quite a bit and kept running him even though they couldn't run the football, and it was a close game, and they were able to stay on script, and that's what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. He wants to stay balanced. He wants you to not know if he's going to throw the ball or run the ball, wants to stay in front of the sticks, wants to keep the game close and not have to, be forced to be one-dimensional. And so I think there's going to be a lot of Christian McCaffrey again. He had 22 carries and 9 catches. It's unsustainable usage for Christian McCaffrey. We know how much he's been hurt throughout his career. You can't give Christian McCaffrey 517 touches this year. But right now, Kyle Shanahan has no choice to not take him off the field. So I expect a lot of Christian McCaffrey. It might not be efficient, and I would like to see Brian Robinson take a few of those carries away from him just to keep him a little bit fresher. But really, Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield is such a tough player for linebackers to cover.
Brian Peacock's with us, Locked On 49ers. He's on Twitter at BDPeacock if you want to give him a follow. Okay, you alluded to it there with Moody being out the place kicker. They signed Eddie Pineiro, another SEC guy from Florida. A lot of people down here know. If it comes down to a kick, what's the confidence level here in Pineiro?
It's probably higher. Not even seeing him kick any balls recently. And it's funny that he it was between the Falcons and the 49ers, and he chose the 49ers over the Atlanta Falcons. So I know a lot of Saints fans will appreciate that from Eddie Pineiro. But, I mean, he's one of the more accurate kickers in the NFL, and I think at this point he's going to be an upgrade over Jake Moody, who had lost all confidence and after hurting his leg last year had been only about a 50% field goal kicker. So my confidence in Pineiro is definitely higher than it was in Jake Moody's. But really, I think Kyle Shanahan's kind of at his wit's end. He doesn't want to think and worry about special teams, which is why he drafted a third-round kicker in the first place. And you just can't throw draft picks at that position. It doesn't work that way. Hopefully Eddie Pineiro's the guy.
Despite who might be there at quarterback or who might not be there with Kittle or whatever the case may be, I mean, obviously, Deebo Samuel's now on the other side of the country. It may not matter if the defense is great. So, give us the thumbnail idea or the 10,000-foot view of this Niners defense here, 1 week into the season.
Robert Saleh is a phenomenal football coach. I'll put it that way. And I think the last couple of years since D'Amico Ryans left, who's also a fantastic football coach, the 49ers had struggled to find someone that Kyle Shanahan trusted. And really, the 49ers under Steve Wilkes and under Nick Sorensen last year were kind of running a version of that defense that Robert Saleh had kind of installed, and it was almost the Kyle Shanahan defense, and he didn't really let those guys run their own thing. And so it became static and kind of stale. And seeing Robert Saleh, and now with more knowledge and going and coaching the Jets and coming back, it looked a lot more exotic than the old Robert Saleh front. They used to try to get pressure with four, and he's still trying to get pressure with four. But you saw this turbo package with four defensive ends on the field, with first-rounder Mecole Williams bumping inside, with Yetur Gross-Matos playing some tackle, and showing some simulated pressures and bringing some blitzes and dropping a defensive lineman, and it was a lot more exotic than I remember from Robert Saleh's defense the first time around. And they did a really good job against Sam Darnold and the Seahawks last week. I was impressed with so many rookies, 3 rookies starting for that defense.
Is there any matchup on the field Sunday where the Saints might give the 49ers, give you pause, where the Saints might have an advantage?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough with, similar to Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara's ability to run and catch the ball is always going to be tough. Luckily, the 49ers do have a linebacker like Fred Warner, and D. Winters looked awesome to start his third season last week, and he's got 4.4 speed and looked a lot like Dre Greenlaw, so that was a big check mark for Robert Saleh's unit. But I would probably point to the rookie nickel Upton Stout, and the Seattle Seahawks targeted him early and often in that game, and he didn't have a great PFF grade after the game, which I didn't expect him to have because he was targeted so heavily, gave up a penalty. So, Rashid Shaheed, it'll be, 2 diminutive, fast guys going at it, but I think that nickel defender is probably a place that the Saints will attack the San Francisco 49ers.
What is Kyle Shanahan's blueprint to get a win Sunday in the Dome?
Run the ball. They need to be successful running the football, whether it's Christian McCaffrey or Brian Robinson. The offensive line did not play great last week against the Seahawks. They weren't able to run the ball. They need to keep this game close and not let anything weird happen to where they're chasing points and need to throw to get back in a football game. So Kyle Shanahan wants to be balanced, and if you can't run the ball and you get in a lot of third and longs, it makes that very difficult. So that's key number one.
It is a great week to subscribe to Locked On 49ers if you're not already, podcast or YouTube. He's Brian Peacock on Twitter at BDPeacock if you want to give him a follow, the host of Locked On 49ers. Hey, man, we appreciate the time and the insight. Thanks so much.
Hey, always a pleasure. I love talking to you guys.
It's our pleasure. Saints and Niners, the line this week is currently at 3.5, so that line keeps ticking down. It opened at Niners 7.5. We got the Brock Purdy news. We've consistently seen that number tick down. Obviously, Kittle going to IR. The Niners making a change there. Place kicker, bringing in Pineiro. Juwan Jennings is going to play. We know that. We're still waiting on the official injury report from San Francisco. The Saints injury report is out. We'll get to that here in just a smidge. But injuries are going to play a big part in Sunday on both sides, so we're going to keep an eye on that. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.